Hello everybody and welcome back to our beginner's course in HTML. This tutorial will add hyperlinks to our web page. We will create a content section and add a link to an external site. Doing this will enable us to explore both hyperlink types. Hyperlinks are vital for the World Wide Web. For example, they enable visitors to jump around the page, move around different pages of the same website, download or access files, press those purchase buttons, and visit other websites. Fortunately, they are easy to write, especially with all the knowledge we have already built up in this course so far. We'll start with the easiest hyperlink, and that's linking to an external site. At the bottom of our recipe page, we will add a paragraph and invite the visitor to check out our main website for coding tutorials. As with all HTML elements, we need an appropriate tag. Hyperlinks wrap the content we want to be a link in the A tag. We'll wrap this piece of text here in our paragraph in the A tag. The A element then needs to know where it is sending the visitor. To do this, we use the href attribute, which stands for Hypertext Reference. We simply add the web address in the value field, and the browser will know where to send the visitor. We'll refresh our web page in the browser and then click our newly created hyperlink. And it takes us to the Web Code Fun website. We can also use hyperlinks to move around our website. If we had multiple pages, we could simply add the file location within the href attribute, redirecting our user to that page. We haven't got multiple pages on our pizza sauce website. Still, we have an image location, so let's send our user there with the hyperlink. We'll write a short paragraph and wrap the text in an A element. We will then give it the hypertext reference attribute with the location of our image. Doing this is very similar to what we did to the image tag to add the image to the page earlier in the course. If we refresh our web browser and click on the link, there we go. The browser has opened up the image file in our window. As we have provided a link to the raw image, the browser displays its original size. We can also use hyperlinks to direct users to a specific place on our web page. These are known as document fragments. First, to prove the content links we are creating are working correctly, we need to expand our page. The page doesn't scroll at present as there is not a lot of content on there. To overcome this, I will add white space to the bottom of the page by putting in some line break BR elements. The BR element is designed to break content over multiple lines and is used, for example, if you want to break a poem across lines. You should not use the BR element to create white space. What we are doing here is poor practice and not something I would do on an actual website. If we want to generate white space, we use CSS, and we will do that in the next course. For this tutorial, I will bend the rules so that I can demonstrate the contents links. Once finished, I will delete the BR elements again. At the top of the page, below the header element, we will add the nav element. Our nav element helps with organization and marks that this content is for navigational links. We will create a few links in a list called Contents, which will take us to our Ingredients section, Instruction section, and our Pizza Goes Well With section. First, we will add a H2 heading named Contents. Then, we will create a list. We will use an unordered list as that seems best here. We will create 3 list items to represent the 3 linked sections. We will then wrap the text content in an A element to make them hyperlinks. Now to learn a new attribute called ID. We can give any of our elements an ID attribute and then provide the ID with a reference name. The browser uses the ID to identify the requested location. We will use these a lot when we come to learn JavaScript, but for now, we can use ID attributes to create our hyperlink locations. We want an ID location for each of the 3 sections. Therefore, we will add the attribute to those headings and give them a relevant name: ingredient section, instruction section, and goes with section. Going back to our A elements, we can now reference these ID points using a hash followed by the ID name. The ID is essentially acting as a hyperlink reference point. When we click the link, the browser jumps to the location of the ID reference. OK, let's check this works. If we head over to our browser, then hit refresh, here is our content section with 3 hyperlinks in a list. If we click them, they jump us to the relevant section of the page. Great. Now let's delete those line break elements again to keep our code clean. There is one last thing I would like to cover in this tutorial, and that's a look at the type of elements that exist. You will have already noticed that some elements, such as headings, paragraphs, and lists, form a visible block on the page. These elements are structural elements on the page. Block level elements form a new line, and any content that follows moves to a new line. We have also been using some inline elements, such as our hyperlink element and our strong and emphasis elements. These inline elements are contained within our block level elements and will not cause a new line to appear. We will typically only use these elements for a small section of a block level element. It's important to be aware of this difference when you start to create your first web pages. You will become aware that items do not appear where you necessarily want them to. The browser determines the element's location on the page from the preset formatting of the particular element or elements you create. When we learn CSS shortly, you will learn much more about formatting, tear up the preset rules, and create your own to design your web pages exactly how you would like. OK, and that's all for our HTML beginners course. We have learned all of the basics that we need to start building web pages. We have learned the basic structure of a web page, what elements are and what tags to use. We have also discovered how to add images, lists, tables, and hyperlinks. Next up, we need to make our web page look a lot nicer. And to do that, we will need to learn how to use CSS. So, please join me on the CSS beginners course, where we will improve on our pizza sauce web page. If you've enjoyed the videos, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Subscribing will help others to find the videos and will also help me to grow this channel. Remember, each tutorial comes with a written guide at webcodefun.com, so be sure to check out the site for any bits that you're not clear on or if you need to view the code. Bye for now, and see you in the CSS beginners course.